Okay. The hell? Oh, here, check this out. Okay, got my, this is my Marvel wallet. Okay, it's got comic book designs all over it. I don't go into it very often though, because it's kind of depressing. I mean, I've got, one credit card, and then I have another credit card. You gotta be prepared with a third credit card. The world is a vicious place, and you don't want to find yourself in the position where you gotta go put the groceries back. That's never gonna happen, Bank of America. What's up, guys? Welcome back to ThuggedOT Thursday, your TLG weekly commentary. Today we're actually going to be discussing some of the winners of the 2015 Game Awards. Maybe even talk about some surprises, some things I agree with, or perhaps some things I don't agree with. But before we get started with that, guys, quick shout out to our Thug of the Week, gamertag Devo1013. Now, this guy is a father who happens to be working very hard in the middle of a career change, but is also somehow managing to spend quality time with his family. I think that's something that we can all really learn from, because it is very easy to get caught up kind of, in the work grind and forget to spend some time with your loved ones. So thank you, man, for being such a positive role model. You definitely deserve a shout out. Now, if you yourself want to get the Thug of the Week, or perhaps nominate one of your friends or family members, all you have to do is send me an email to thuglifegaming@yahoo.com letting me know what makes you a thug. So now let's go ahead and discuss 4 categories from the Game Awards that I personally can relate to the most. And let's start it off with the Shooter of the Year. Now, the winner of this category surprisingly was a Nintendo exclusive called Splatoon. Wait a second, Matt. Are you telling me that Nintendo has the best Shooter of the Year? 'Cause if so, you need to give me a second so that I can change my diaper. Yes, Nintendo did actually get this award, and surprisingly, it's one of the categories from the show that I actually agree with. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this freaking awesome title, okay, the game itself centers around these characters known as Inklings. Now, it takes place in a very cartoon, animated type of environment, and these beings can transform between being humans and squids. Now, while you're in the human form, you use a weapon in order to shoot paint all over the environment and or to kill the enemy opponents. And in the game mode called Turf Wars, the goal of the match is to paint or cover up as much of the environment as possible with your team's colors before time runs out. Now, another creative aspect of this game is when you transform into a squid, you can actually swim in or hide in the paint itself, which I just think is badass. But, it's diverse and very creative gameplay that we've never witnessed before, and I think that's why this game rightfully deserves the Shooter of the Year. I mean, it's a great game for parents to introduce their kids into video game culture with, but also because of how competitive it is and kind of the Nintendo nostalgia factor of it, it's very appealing to a much broader audience, including the older generations. So congratulations to Nintendo for receiving that award. Now, the next 2 categories we're going to talk about are Best Multiplayer, which of course is the online aspect of pwning a few Noobosaurus Rexes. Okay, and then Best Narrative, which of course involves the storyline and plot to a campaign. Now, Best Multiplayer was actually awarded again to Splatoon, and if I'm being honest with you guys, I mean, I could totally understand why they chose it, but for me personally, the game that I've had the most fun playing this year is without a doubt Rainbow Six Siege. Whoa, Matt, you just put that bowl of salsa on the table for anybody to dip a nacho in. Okay, yes, by no means is Rainbow Six Siege a perfect game, and I'm actually pretty pissed off that it came out at a $60 price point because it doesn't even have a campaign, alright? But the multiplayer that it does have is freaking phenomenal for two main reasons. First of all, the multiplayer map level design, I would argue, is better than any video game that is currently on the market. We're talking about maps that range from, defusing a bomb in a Christmas-themed hotel to rescuing a hostage out of a wealthy suburban household. I mean, it's the only game I've played this year that there's not a single multiplayer map that I absolutely hate. Because we've all had that moment where the loading screen comes up and we're like, oh, okay, so we're gonna play this one for the 13th time in a row. It's funny because I thought I bought the game to experience all 10 multiplayer maps, but apparently this one is a fan favorite. So, I know all of you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, but all of the maps in this game are just a lot of fun, but that's just one reason. The second main reason is just how creative the gameplay aspect of this game is. I mean, they basically took the search and destroy aspect from Call of Duty and centered an entire game around it. The strategy involved with putting up reinforced walls, using your camera drone, breach charges, to even the destructibility of the entire environment, all of these things combined to create one of the most competitive games that is currently on the market, and it's because of that I'm very excited to see, how successful this game becomes within esports. Now, the best narrative category actually went to a game called Her Story. This is an indie title directed by Sam Barlow. This game is going to have you sorting through a number of police video interviews of a woman in 1994 whose husband went missing and was later found herself murdered. Your job throughout the game is to essentially sort through all of these video interviews to solve the mystery, if you will. I mean, the game acts as like an interactive movie, so it's very interesting, and you can see how intricate the plot actually might become with a very mysterious story like that. But the other game that I might actually put up there for consideration in regards to this category would be The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Now, the main difference between these two titles is, one of them is developed by, just a few people in a limited amount of money, and the other one is developed by a gigantic studio with I don't know, probably millions of dollars and hundreds of people. I mean, I'm not completely sure, but I know it's bigger than your local chess club. That's all I'm saying. So it's pretty hard to compare the two, but I mean, I'm just happy that the Game Awards shined some spotlight on an indie title like this, because as you guys know, I'm a huge supporter of indie studios and I love indie games. But now let's talk about the big category, which of course is the Game of the Year. But before we get into it, okay, I've got to be completely honest and upfront with you guys, because I'm pretty broke. I'm more broke than you can possibly imagine. So with that being said though, there are a lot of, very popular games that have come out that I just haven't played or experienced because even though I want to buy every game that comes out, I just simply don't have the money for it. But, I am a huge game enthusiast, so all of the top games I have studied very frequently, the plot for the games, videos involving the gameplay, and even the critical reception for them. And there's two games that have really stood out in terms of critic reviews and fan response. Those two titles would be Fallout 4 and Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. Okay, a game is good when you don't even follow the developers or the game itself on any forms of social media. And yet all of your friends and family are just tweeting and posting about it. It's just alright, well, I'm gonna assume that game is somewhat decent. But when you look at the Metacritic score, the average critic review score for these games, I mean, both of them are phenomenal. And in terms of sales, just to put this in perspective for how much the fans love these games, Fallout 4 sold 1.2 million copies on Steam within the first 24 hours. Okay, that's ridiculous. But Metal Gear Solid 5, as of September of 2015, has now sold over 5 million copies. Both of these games are praised and loved by critics and fans alike. But that is it for this discussion on the 2015 Game Awards, and I appreciate you guys listening to my input about them. Feel free to leave a comment below. Let me know which games you guys think were some of the best of this year and which categories you think they should have won. Also, go share this video with your friends, click that thumbs up button, and if you're digging the content, then feel free to subscribe. But I'll see everybody here in a couple of days. Keep living that life, cause that is what thugs do. I'm out of here, guys. Take it easy.